Good afternoon. It is February 11th, 2013. This is Jason Horak reporting on the Dodge Daytona electric vehicle. Just wanted to give everyone a little bit of an update as it's been a few weeks. And what I've been doing is driving the electric car just about daily. And our weather has been typical central New York. We'll have a blizzard one day and a big melt the next, and 2 feet of snow and then nothing, and who knows. But right now the roads are fairly clear. We had a big blizzard last weekend, and mostly the roads are clear at this point. So it's kind of warm out today. I'm showing about 38 here in the garage. And anyway, today we're taking the car on its longest trip yet since the new motor's been installed. This will be down to Marathon, New York. Not exactly sure on the mileage. I don't know, maybe 30 miles away, something like that. So it'll be a 60-mile round trip. Sounds about right. Anyway, just wanted to take a quick video showing the before and after, maybe during if things go horribly wrong. We'll see. So right now we're sitting at 165,690 on the mileage. And I just took the car off the charger, and then the batteries have been settling for a little bit here, so we're at 205.3 and still settling on the batteries. I reset the meter, and so we're pulling no amps. We'll go from there. So anyway, yep, so one thing I did discover since my last video, which was kind of silly, on the Soliton settings, I had left the minimum battery voltage at no current and the minimum battery voltage at full current at my battery draining settings. So they were basically set to 180 volts for the minimum battery current at minimum battery voltage at no current, and 170, I believe, at full current. So what that was doing was greatly hamstringing my performance in the car. So I was hitting that limit rather than, say, the max motor power or max battery current. So anyway, I was noticing the really bad performance. Like, why is this going so slow? But of course, it was as the batteries had gotten lower in their charge cycle or their charge, and because it was cold out, they were sagging a bit more. So I was hitting those limits really early, and I was like, why am I driving a 3-cylinder? What's wrong with this? But anyway, so I've readjusted them back to where I normally run them, which is 150 volts for the minimum battery voltage at no current. I believe that works out to like 2.8 or 2.5 volts per cell. I forget which, maybe it's 2.8. I don't know. Math. So let me pull up my handy-dandy little calculator here, because I am just so bad at math. Yes, so if we do a 150, and we divide that by our 60 batteries, that gives us 2.5 volts per cell. Okay, so that's what we're considering empty as far as when the batteries are just kind of sitting there. When I'm under load, that's when we get to that the 120, which is conveniently 2 volts per cell. So anyway, that's where I've got it set, and that seems to give me maximum power throughout the discharge cycle of the batteries, while preserving them, because it never lets them get below 2.5 regardless. So anyway, that's just something I wanted to point out, that if you forget to set things up properly, you'll end up with bad performance in your car. It'll still work, and it may work just fine, but it can do better. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that quick overview, and I'm going to drive to Marathon now, and then we'll take a quick look at the voltage and how many amps we've spent and all that good stuff when I get there. And it should be fun. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you in a bit. Alright, well, we're tooling along Route 81, and this is just kind of an aside. I figured I would interject here. So it's definitely feeling less powerful than it used to. With that setting of 500 minimum on the, or sorry, maximum rather on the motor, 500 amps, and limiting the battery current to 500, which is about what I had it at before, so that's really the same. But I'm just noticing that as I'm cruising along on the highway that I'm definitely pedal to the floor in the fifth gear quite often. We're going up a little bit of an incline here, passing a truck, and I'm just barely, pedals on the floor, 74 miles an hour. So, there's a little bit of a less power than I'm used to in this car, but that's kind of to be expected with the motor running at half current that it's capable of. So, So anyway, but and you can kind of see that we were topping out at 200 and some odd amps battery draw during that hill. So now we're kind of going downhill, trying not to speed too excessively with all this weight. The car is over 3,500 pounds with me in it and cargo and so forth. So, but anyway, we're cruising along the highway. We're doing pretty good. It's just I wanted to make a note that it wasn't feeling as peppy as it usually does, and that I'm pretty sure I know why. But that's okay. I would rather preserve the brushes and get this whole burn-in time as much as possible on them, and we'll go from there. So I did start the data logger on the Soliton 1 for this entire trip. Figured, what the heck, if something real bad wrong happens, at least I'll have logs to prove it, or to demonstrate what happened at the time. So, unfortunately, I don't have any temperature monitoring on my motor. That was kind of the, one of my objectives was to get the temperature monitoring in before I took a big trip. But circumstances being what they are, my gas car stopped working. Ironically, the battery died in all this cold weather and so forth. But so for the moment, I'm driving the EV as my primary source of transportation, and we'll just hope I don't melt the motor. Anyway, I'll check back with you when I get to Marathon. But again, here's a little bit of an incline. We're pulling 270 amps out of the batteries, 278, and maintaining about 75 miles an hour. So again, the motor's doing good. It is a little cold out. It's about, again, 38 degrees. That's what I was showing at the house. So the motor shouldn't overheat theoretically in these temperatures. It does have quite a bit of airflow across the motor underneath the car. I don't have the shielding in place that I intended to have as well, so it's got all kinds of airflow. Anyway, so we're taking potluck and hoping for the best. So anyway, I'll get back to you when I get to my destination. Alright, we are at our destination. So the mileage ended up being 165,709. So by my math, that's 19 miles. So a little bit less than I was expecting. That is mostly all highway miles, and so it's a pretty direct shot from my house to here. But when I go back, I'll be taking kind of the back road, and it'll be a little longer trip. Probably could take the highway. Obviously, we've got plenty of battery power, but I kind of want to run that just to see the difference in mileage, for one thing. So according to the JLD 404, not sure if the lighting is going to be cooperative here, but we're at 43.0 amp hours consumed. And the pack is kind of settling at it. It looks like 197.0. I'm sure that'll bounce back up a little bit more too as we go. And yeah, so there we are. So I'm going to take a quick look under the hood just to see. Just lots of snow here. If I can actually get in at the motor, and not conveniently anyway. But there's no smoke, so that's a good sign. Anyway, we'll get back to you when we're ready to take the return trip. So here we are on the return trip. Decided I would take the back roads instead of the highway just for the fun of it. Really like this road. It's kind of indicative of most of the hills that we have around here. You know, just crazy amounts of hills, and you know, relatively low traffic on this road, so that's why I like it. But so anyway, I'm going downhill now, but we're tooling right along. I am in 4th gear. I'm trying to keep the RPMs up on the motor for better cooling. Is right around 3,000 to 4,000 in that range. Whereas the power band of the motor is a little lower. It's closer to 2,500 to 3,500. So I mean, I guess we're right in the sweet spot. In 4th gear at about 65 miles an hour. So anyway, it seems to be working out pretty well. I guess we'll just kind of motor along as normal and see how we do. So, other than little animals in the road that we don't want to run over, we should be fine. So, here's a fairly sizable incline. We're holding 65, but the pedal is on the floor. We're pulling 350 amps. Out of the batteries, which is more than I did on the highway before, but I'm starting to lose some momentum as we crest the top here. So I'm definitely feeling that 500 amp limit on the motor, and it's probably better for the motor, I suppose, that it's not seeing 1,000 amps, but you know, I did lose 5 miles an hour going up this hill, so yeah, anyway, all part of the brush seeding process. Not quite sure what our elevation is here, but we're pretty much at the top of the hills for central New York. We're kind of up here in God's country, where all fields as far as the eye can see. Fun times. So, anyway, I will get back to you when we get to our destination, back at the ranch, so to speak. And now, of course, my foot is off the pedal, and we're pulling 1 amp to keep the headlights on. So, yeah, fun times in EV land. Catch y'all later. Okay, and here we are back at the home front. As you can see, we've spent a total of 83.5 amp hours, according to the JLD 404, and the total time was 3 hours and 17 minutes, with of course a big delay in the, or big parking in the middle. And the finishing pack voltage was 196.1. Again, that's still kind of settling because we just pulled in, and that will creep back up to wherever it's going to. So, yeah. And our finishing mileage was 165,739. So that was our trip for today, and of course I logged the entire thing on the laptop with the Soliton data logger, so we can kind of see where the limits were getting hit and so forth. Yeah, on the return trip I did go up on the highway for the last leg of it. It's just much more efficient than driving through town to hop on the highway. And it gives the batteries a little extra workout, making sure they're nice and as warm as possible before I go and charge them. But anyway, I think we're in pretty good shape. And kind of the JLD is to be believed. We're at 83.5 amp hours consumed out of the roughly 180 amp hours in these cells. That's their rated capacity. So in theory, we could do that trip a couple times and still have a little bit to spare. So anyway, that's it for today. Have a wonderful evening.